Welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idle, and when you think of things like Dungeons and Dragons and Magic the Gathering, what do you think of? The stereotype. Dorky white dudes who can't get laid, sitting in their mom's basement, playing card games about magic monsters, or living out their power fantasies of saving the princess and killing minotaurs, right? Obviously, that's not everyone. In fact, there's a large contingent of individuals from all sorts of ethnicities, races, sexual orientations, whatnot, that enjoy D&D, Magic the Gathering, and stuff like that. That being said, Woods of the Coast coming under fire for being a little bit racist, saying that they don't want folks like me, and probably a lot of you watching, us little white boys who've loved the game for, God knows how many years, to support their product anymore. They don't want us. Let's go through this article and I'll show you what I mean. Wizards of the Coast and Dungeons & Dragons executive Kyle Brink demands white males leave tabletop gaming. Wizards of the Coast has made several questionable decisions when it comes to the new 1D&D system for Dungeons & Dragons. Longtime fans of the game have been complaining the basic elements of D&D, which made the game special, have been stripped from the newest edition. Now, one of the game designers has come out and made an explicitly racist statement implying he wants white people out of role-playing. Ah yes, because we play a greater role in society, so we ought not be allowed to pretend. Players have already become upset about the subscription model of new D&D, where 1D&D appears to be using paid subscribers as beta testers for a game as it develops and changes. Such practices are common in the video game industry, where companies fix the bugs in their games through post-release updates. Still, for tabletop playing, players are used to having a complete book to play their games without having to worry about it working or not. On top of the format and rules debacle, Wizards of the Coast has been removing tropes associated with some of their fantasy races, as they believe those races exemplify real-life human cultures. Most famously, several woke activists have compared orcs to black people and tried to project their own racist proclivities on normal people who just want to pretend to fight monsters. This was hilarious when it happened. Yes, this is true. There was a small but very, very loud group of individuals who decided that orcs were racist because they were representations of black people. Now, I won't lie. I grew up watching Lord of the Rings, played D&D for many years, played Magic the Gathering, gone out. I've LARPed. I was at one point I was part of this LARPing group called Galgamith, and I was Rain, King of the Dark Elves. And let me tell you, throughout all of my nerdy experiences growing up, LARPing, playing D&D, Magic the Gathering, watching Lord of the Rings, never once did I look at an orc and think, came from Harlem. Like, the thought never occurred to me. They were monsters. They were monsters with dark skin. But what do I know? I mean, according to Wizards of the Coast, I'm the racist, so. In a recent interview on Three Black Halflings channel, however, Wizards of the Coast executive producer Kyle Brink gave an interview revealing the designer's bigoted biases. This is not the face of the hobby anymore, Brink said, and I think there's been mistakes made in years past where people assume that D&D players were all, white dudes in a basement, which has been a faulty assumption for a lot of years and gets more and more false every day. And so, in my viewpoint, guys like me can't leave soon enough. Yeah, it's not about... Remember when Brie Larson said that it's about bringing more people to the table? I'm okay with that. I would actually agree with her in correlating to Dungeons & Dragons, that is. Yeah, bring more people to the table. I don't care who you are, what you look like, whatever, when you play D&D, as long as you're not insufferable to play with. Like, if you're insufferable to play with, hey, it's still a game, and get out of here. Don't watch your shenanigans. But if you're fun to play with, bruh, I don't care about your politics, I don't care about your sexual orientation, I don't care about your skin color. I care, are you going to be a murder hobo and ruin the game for everyone because you just want to kill everyone, piss off the DM, and make it unfun? You don't want to do that? Alright, chill. Game up, roll up. Let's get them nat 20s out there, boy or girl or whatever. But yeah, the whole guys like me can't leave soon enough. Man, guys like you built the company that you're sitting at. Guys like you and me that couldn't get laid in high school, we're the ones that made your company successful. We're the ones that bought the books. We're the ones that, would stay after school in the library when all the athletic alpha males were dribbling balls and we were sitting there in our wizard cloaks and rolling some dice. Like, okay, I didn't go that hard, and I'm sure a lot of other people did. But my point is, we were the people supporting your product. We were the ones buying things. We were the ones that made, Dungeons & Dragons as popular as it is now over the course of the last 15, 20 years. D&D has been around for a very, very long time. It has only very recently become popular. And you want to know what did it? Stranger Things. Let's be real. Stranger Things did it. Stranger Things made D&D cool. That and the onset of the MCU and all of the fact that being a nerd is cool now. But for those of us that grew up when being a nerd wasn't cool, when you would get, beat up for that sort of thing, yeah, I'm sorry, there weren't a lot of, at least where I grew up, there weren't a lot of women or people of color playing, and the game is no different now than it was back then. You got more people playing now of different ethnicities, different, sexual orientations, whatever. Yeah, that's fine. That's a good thing. I got no issue with that. The game hasn't changed. The idiots online have absolutely changed. Explicitly calling for white males to lead the hobby is a new low for the role-playing company, especially as they constantly tout diversity and inclusivity as one of their core values. An executive calling out an entire race to leave the hobby would be met with instant firing if this were regard to any other race. But as of this writing, Wizards of the Coast has not even made a statement regarding their employees' overt racism. And yeah, that's entirely true. I mean, if he had said this about black players, Asian players, Jewish players, what have you, Homeboy would be gone. He would be fired. This would be front page news on CNN. They'd be running articles like, yeah, so the Dungeons and Dragons Wizards of the Coast executive said that Jewish people were no longer allowed at D&D? And then they'd have some whole article about it, and yeah, Homeboy would be fired. And the next thing we know, he's, appearing on like Alex Jones or something next to Kanye West, touting conspiracy theories about how D&D is really a gateway to the unforeseen worlds, and who knows, it would get out of hand. Because he said it about, white people, it's cool. Now, here's the thing. This has been going on for a long time. Whether you want to admit it or not, this has been going on for a long time. It's been going on in Magic as well. It's been going on, of course, in D&D. We're seeing it in Disney movies. We're seeing the most recent Proud Family show. Anybody? Literally an explicitly anti-white show. Look, if people want to have those views, like that's up to them. That's up to them. That's fine. But you don't have to come after us, call us racist when you're the ones doing the racist acts, and then when your business falls apart and when you aren't making any money because people decide not to purchase the product, or when people don't go see your new Dungeons and Dragons movie, because apparently white boys need to leave the space, even though you've got literally a straight white guy leading the show, and it's because that'll sell. Chris Pine's a big name. It'll sell tickets. He's got that rugged action star look. But it's cool for him to lead the show. But those of us that would support a movie like this, we're not welcome. It's an insane statement to make. And I don't know if there's a real way for him to recover from it. Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro have already been in such hot water lately between the OGL controversy, Magic 30th, all the new Magic stuff coming out with tournament changes, more D&D issues. I mean, I did a short yesterday. Their stock is predicted to drop an additional 29% this quarter after a 42% stock drop last quarter. Things are not looking good. This isn't how you fix the issue. Magic's been all over this as well. They've been claiming certain cards are racist. They've been refusing to reprint art because certain art is sexist. So, I mean, this is not just D&D. Wizards of the Coast as a whole is crawling with this, and it's gotta stop. The comments on the live stream savaged the interview, with one viewer stating, "I think the best bet is to just stay silent because every time one of their leaders discusses the hobby, they prove how out of touch they are with the customers more and more." Yeah, that's true. YouTuber Diversity and Dragons also spoke out about the situation, voicing his disgust with being told he's not welcome as a customer at Wizards of the Coast. He said in his reaction video, "It's certainly racist. It's proof that Wizards of the Coast does not want the business of what was a large part of their traditional fan base." And I mean, he's entirely correct as well. Look, no one has an issue, I would say, at least the vast majority of people don't have an issue with more people playing. The more people playing tabletop games, the more people playing Magic, dude, the better. You telling me that you don't think a bunch of these, let's take race out of it. Let's just say you don't think a bunch of boys, men, guys, whatever, don't want more women playing the game? Dude, of course we do. That's all we wanted growing up. That's it. We wanted women to play Dungeons and Dragons with us. We didn't want them gallivanting off with the football players. We wanted them to realize that elves and dwarves are cool. And even though elves and dwarves will never actually be cool, we want women to be cool with being uncool. I'm getting into a lot of, stereotypes here, and clearly it's jokes. If you can't tell they're jokes, then you're part of the problem. Point is, men have always wanted women to have more of a hands-on experience with nerdy things like this, and that door's been opened. There's a large contingent of female D&D and Magic players now. That's a great thing. I assume the same for minorities, but I'm not going to sit here and just fact-check, hey, are more black people playing Dungeons and Dragons? I assume they are. This guy's got an entire YouTube channel called Diversity and Dragons. I imagine it's a large enough community for him to be a YouTuber about it, that there's something there. But at the end of the day, lonely white kids were part of the traditional fan base of D&D. They were the original customers. You want to try and cater to your original customers while bringing in new customers. Not saying, oh, we've got all these new customers. OG fans, out the door with you. That's not how you run a business. Over the last several years, it's become in vogue to attack white and male demographics among the fandom's elites. As companies continue down these paths, they will find only they will be losing customers along the way, as many, like Diversity and Dragons, are fed up with being told they're not wanted. What do you think Wizards of the Coast stance on white male players? Leave a comment below and let us know. Well, I'll tell you guys what I think, even more so than I have already. I think this isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Not unless enough of us make quite a large stink online. Like, sure, Wizards of the Coast may backpedal, they may fire this guy, I doubt they'll fire this guy, but they may backpedal, they may apologize for his actions, for his statements, but this is a much larger issue than just Dungeons & Dragons, than just Magic the Gathering. We're seeing this in the anime dubbing industry. I've done several videos at this point about how there are people in the dubbing industry that are blatantly changing the language because it doesn't fit modern sensibilities, because, you know, oh, the Japanese language was sexist, or it portrayed, you know, gender norms. Like, these are such bad things. So it's happening in anime. This is happening in video games. This is happening at Disney. You know, you're going to go to the Disney parks or go to a movie, and there's going to be blatant, frankly, racism, anti-white racism in your face. And like I said, dude, people are cool to be anti-white, they're cool to be racist. Like, if that's what you want to do, that's your prerogative, go for it. But don't think that your company's not going to suffer for it. Me, I don't want to see racism of any kind. I don't want to see racism against black people. I don't want to see racism against Chinese people. I don't want to see racism against white people. Maybe I want to see racism against French people. Do they count as white people? Do they even count as people? French people probably just don't count in general, I mean, on account of being French. Jokes aside, yes, this is not just a Wizards of the Coast issue. This is an issue with ideology and modernity as a whole, and it's something we gotta fight back about. And let's be honest, you're gonna be called the racist for fighting back against it. You're gonna be called the crybaby. You're gonna be called the bigot. Stand your ground and hope we roll a nat 20. But that's all I got for this one. So please subscribe, check out the back catalog. I cover nerdy news every day. Videos like, obviously, Dungeons & Dragons, Star Wars, anime, you name it. It's there in the back catalog. So please subscribe, because this has been Words of Paradise.